Good evening, everyone. Welcome back again to episode 11 of Montel's Random Podcast. Got cut off again by a call, but I switched over to airplane mode. So if you're listening and you do have my personal phone number, that's what I'm going to do at this moment, so that way I can finish this thought. So we're going back in. This will be part 2 of knowing your worth, right? So finishing up the love yourself part, right? So make a list of things you like about yourself and keep the list growing until you reach 100 reasons why you love yourself. And then every once in a while, read it out loud to remind yourself. Keep a journal to write down short motivational quotes you come across. Now, instead of keeping a journal is good, it keeps the brain lucid and all that good stuff. But then also, you can use technology. You got voice memos. You got all this type of stuff that you can take advantage of in order to make it easier for you. Because some people, when it comes down to utilizing an actual physical journal that they have to physically write in, they tend to lose that motivation behind it. So using voice memos, voice recorders to do like memoir type stuff, that's a good way to do it as well, right? So body language. This is the fake it till you make it till you make it trick. Many times people can sense when someone is insecure. They see it from the way you walk, the way you sit, interact with others, when you're in a big room, when you're doing a presentation or whatever the case may be. Like you could slump, your head hangs down, your arms laid tightly crossed, your fists are clenched, eyes wander, your voice is low or monotone, that type of stuff. So just think about that when it comes to getting into knowing your worth and that confidence, right? Because to build confidence with others or in a social situation, it's important to look approachable and open. Make sure you stand tall and make sure you sit tall, and that's posture wise. So think about that, right? Always keep a wide and open body. By uncrossing your arms, always face your entire body to whomever you're interacting with. Being approachable and comfortable in social situations is a sign that you're comfortable and confident with who you are. And people take notice. People do notice that. I think myself personally, being in a supervisory managerial type position, when I interact with people, normally whenever they come into my office, I'm pretty chill and laid back and relaxed. But when they speak to me, I sit upright. I'm attentive. My arms aren't crossed or none of that. My teeth don't flinch or clench or anything. So I give them me. And so whenever they're talking, I ensure them by my eye contact and body language that I'm listening, right? So confidence doesn't always come from a number on the scale, right? Attention to the opposite sex or Instagram likes, any of that stuff, that it doesn't necessarily come from that. All of those things can only create a temporary feeling. Ultimately, you are left with your thoughts, so learn to make them positive. That's a big takeaway from that, and I think it's very important. And man, I wish I could take a picture of this. The sunset is already really done, but the clouds, the way that it's hitting them right now, is amazing. And for people that actually know me, that that sunrise and sunsets, they're key to me just having a great day. They're key components, because there are a lot of components of me having a great day, but that's a huge component. So with that, taking away from that, I think that it's very important when it comes to self-worth that people do the research, because some people think that everything has to come from them when it comes to making them feel good, or learning how to make themselves feel good. Sometimes you have to do research. Sometimes you have to get outside of your own thinking box and figure out what makes you tick. Confidence comes from within, but in order to figure out what makes you tick, maybe it has to come from without. Again, keeping yourself with that small circle of people that are going to bring positivity into your life. I think it's very important. Me, myself, I think it's extremely important to know those in your circle. Don't just take a person that was referred by a friend that's already by a person that's already your friend, and then you just bring them into your circle, judge or not judging the book by its cover, but taking them as face value. You know, take a chance to go out with them, or invite people over or be invited over to friends' houses, and to figure out if that person fits within your circle, right? Because if that person doesn't fit within your circle in a positive manner, bringing good vibes and positivity to where it helps to amplify your self-worth and your ability to interact with people and become someone better, you should not put them into your circle. Don't be afraid to ask your friends questions before you're introduced to this person if they tell you ahead of time. And if they introduce you to them via we're out and about, and then they introduce you to this person, then that's your opportunity to take into account this person, who they are, how they interact in this situation, in this theme setting. And then when you have the opportunity to talk to your friend, you can have the conversation to be like, hey, what's this person about? What are they motivated for in life? You know what I mean? Like morally, are they sound? Do they even have a moral compass? Because, some people may put on that facade to where they project a certain image, but it's not their true self. I think that's very important for me as a person, to whenever I am introduced to one that is not a friend, and that one that is not in my circle, that I know these things, before, during, and after I observe them. I observe their mannerisms, how they treat people, how they interact with new people that they've just met. Are you just giving me like a sheep in wolf's clothing, or wolf in sheep's clothing? What the heck was that? Type aspect, or are you being your truthful self? And everybody will tell you, when you first meet me, you're meeting the person that I am. You're not meeting it's nice to meet you. Let's be best friends forever or whatever. The vibe that you get from me is the true self of who I am. And I think that, oftentimes people, they give you the hi, nice to meet you person versus what's up, motherfucker. Like, that's me. That's me. I'm not the hi, nice to meet you person. I'm the what's up, motherfucker. Like, that's me. And the reason why I for one, because I curse, and I love that word. That's one of my favorite words. But aside from that, I don't want to give you like a coddled, sugar-coated, watered-down version of what you think I would be or who I am. I just give you exactly who I am. And I think that people being in openly who they are, directly who they are, very, very flamboyant about holding themselves accountable for being real in front of new people, that's very important. I think that's very important. Now, there are some things that you may want to dial back on when you first meet people, but you still project that same image, just maybe not so loudly, maybe not so flamboyantly putting it out there. I think that's very, very important, because if you give a person a perception that you're one way, and then, a day later, a week later, months, whatever, down the road, you shift gears, then now you have a person that thinks that, maybe you're not such a great person, or maybe you're not whatever, because you changed up on them, So that's one of those things. I think that's one of those things to where if you do something, or if you present yourself in a certain light, either you stick to it, which will be terrible if you're projecting something that's not real, or once you give them the real self, you just accept whatever your interaction was, and if they accept you into their circle, or if they accept you as a friend or coworker or whatever, you just keep that going. Like, continue to be yourself, because if you project a false representation of yourself, then it's not going to go well. Everything comes out in the wash. That's one of those things. So I think that's very important that we look at this when it comes to building your self-worth and taking these steps that I mentioned in part 1 and this part 2, because of the technical issues, which I apologize for again. But very important, very important. So with that being said, I just wanted to finish up the self-worth thing with the Alexa podcast number 11. So we'll go on to another one. This next topic I really think you guys are going to love. And I'm not going to give it away just now, but I'll just bring it out when I do the next draft and edit, and then I post the next podcast. But as always, thanks for listening. I had a blast doing this, and I actually learned a lot myself too. So it's pretty awesome. So with that being said, this is Montel's Random Podcast. See you guys on the other side.